You read that right, ladies and gentlemen. Debian is the best Linux distro, and I have personal experience which I'm going to grace you with today to back that claim up. Now, many people would like nothing more than to rid themselves of the filth that is Microsoft Windows with its forced updates, numerous vulnerabilities and exploits, not to mention the overzealous behaviour of Windows Defender that constantly detects my Hello World program as a critical ring zero vulnerability that requires immediate deletion, and all of that encased in absolute proprietariness. The rich among those people who want to rid themselves of Microsoft, those with a net worth higher than £17.50 and a box of crayons, may choose to get themselves a MacBook of some kind, maybe an iMac. And how can you blame them? They look nice, and they go with their iPhone 16 Pro Max that they'll be paying for the next 9 years. But for the rest of us poor souls, Linux appears to be our only saviour. The light in the dark, per se, but to the user who doesn't know much about Linux, which one do they choose? Who is that damn Ubuntu? Rest assured, my FOSS friend, let's get down to business and discuss the various distros that you, as the user, both new and experienced, can consider. I'll also give an overview of my personal experience with Linux as a daily driver to give you an idea of what to expect. First of all, the quote, easy to use Linux distros. Now, depending on who you talk to, you'll get different answers. Ubuntu, Linux Mint, Manjaro, PopOS are all very popular distros that are probably about as mainstream as a Linux distro can get. And whilst each of these have their own benefits and drawbacks, I'm going to make the radical suggestion of something else. Debian. With all of the talk about the best Debian-based Linux distro, people forget about the fact that Debian is itself a GNU Linux-based operating system, and a damn good one at that. Coming from personal experience, I have used multiple Debian and Arch-based Linux distros as my main daily driver over the past couple of years, and there was a common theme whilst I used them. There was always something that just wasn't quite right. The first Linux distro I used on my main desktop as my main operating system that I daily drove was PopOS. I backed up my data, formatted my Windows drive, and replaced it with the meme gaming Linux distro that is PopOS. And oh, how naive I was. PopOS ended up being pretty good for a while. In fact, the first couple videos on this YouTube channel were made with the use of PopOS, but eventually, around 6 to 9 months I'd say of using PopOS every day, it just, well, sort of deleted itself whilst I was using it. Restarting it resulted in me staring at a not so welcoming TTY interface. PopOS was then, in my mind, a no-go. One could argue I didn't embrace the Linux ethos of figuring out what went wrong and fixing it, but to be completely honest with you, at that moment I just wanted a functional computer to do my college work on. I then hopped over to Manjaro, which differs from those previously mentioned because it's not based on Debian, rather it's based on Arch Linux. Now, in order to not get bogged down in the details, let's just keep the distinction between Arch and Debian based Linux distros as this. Arch equals more customizability and up-to-dateness, with the drawback of being slightly unstable. And then there's Debian, which is, you can think about it as being, or rather having more stability and a more out-of-the-box feel, with the drawback of being slightly more outdated than when compared to its Arch Linux counterpart. I used Manjaro as my daily driver for just over a year. Steam games, OBS, a whole host of different pieces of software all worked perfectly. I utilised the proprietary NVIDIA drivers and all was well. And that was with a GTX 1070, just in case you're wondering. And like I say, all was well, until, yet again, it wasn't. Around a year in, I started getting frame stuttering with anything that required a small level of graphical intensity. Even YouTube videos refused to work. I did the usual, reinstall drivers, update the kernel, use the open source drivers, nothing worked. And so, with another year at college about to begin, I formatted my drive once again and rolled with Windows 10. But as a Brit-bong freedom lover of free and open source software, I yearned for Linux, and so I established a compromise. After 2 months of distro hopping between Ubuntu, Mint, Pinwheel, Element, even a base install of Arch, I settled with Debian 12. Debian Bookworm, I think it's called. I installed it on a separate SSD and had it as an optional boot option in my BIOS in conjunction with my Windows 10 drive. I found this system to be the best compromise I could come up with. I could use Windows for those video games that use Windows-specific software or anti-cheats like Easy Anti-Cheat, as well as those dirty, filthy Adobe products that I got free access to with my college account. So, can't really complain there. And this allowed me to leave my programming and general computing stuff to the Debian drive. I can confidently say that if you're looking for a stable, low resource intensive, easy to install and easy to use Linux distro that, quote, just works, Debian is the Linux distro for you. Sure, you can make other distros stable, but Debian does it best for me. You won't be getting the tip of the spear in terms of software updates, but if you're looking for stability, having the nightly build of Firefox probably isn't on the top of your list. Now, if you were to ask me about a distro to absolutely not delve head first in using as your daily driver as a beginner, I would probably say stay clear of PopOS. I mean, by all means, give it a try in a virtual machine, but after a good long while of using it, I wouldn't advise it to people, especially beginners. What gets me riled up about PopOS is how much it's advertised as being for those Linux beginners, the ones who have likely only ever used Windows or macOS before. I personally feel that there are too many different features jammed into PopOS. If you're going to make a Linux-based operating system aimed at new users, surely you'd want it to appear as simple to use as possible, with as few dependencies as possible to avoid exactly what happened to me, which was systematic operating system deletion. At least it appeared like it. It might have been me, I might have done something, but having used it for the 6 to 9 months, I didn't do anything out of the ordinary. I booted it up one day, was on the Steam game, and then all of a sudden it deleted itself. And as somebody who was at the time new to Linux, I had no idea how to proceed with that. And so a reinstallation and a change of operating system it was. When beginner users encounter something like a sudden boot up without Xorg starting and the user has to look at a blank TTY, it just doesn't instill confidence. What's both a blessing and a curse with all of these different Linux distros is the variety. Sure, you can distro hop, find which one tickles your brain cells just right and stick with it, but it can be overwhelming for those who don't know much about it. But with all of that talk, maybe we shouldn't even bother, right? If we were to take a pessimistic take on it, maybe we should just leave those who don't know better to just stay on Windows and macOS. And maybe we should. But if we don't try to inform people of the alternative operating systems available to them, the issue with Windows will only get worse due to the lack of market competition. If Microsoft continues to be unchallenged like it is currently, its products are only going to continue down the hole of uselessness. The old idea of the day of the Linux desktop, in my opinion, won't happen anytime soon. But it might not need to in order to have a positive effect. As long as it is enough of a market disruption for Microsoft, they will have to try to improve their products in order to stay ahead and stay secure in its position. The closing of Microsoft support for the home version of Windows 10 in the last quarter of 2025, I think, may have an impact on people's perception of the operating system they use, at least more than the usual rate of people who start questioning such things, which isn't a lot, let's be clear. Most people don't care about what operating system they run. And that is precisely why Linux will not go mainstream unless there is a seismic change in the attitude the general population has towards computing. But for many people, using a computer is just like using a car. They have to use it to get from A to B, and they don't really care how or why it works, just as long as it does work. And there's nothing wrong with that per se, but for those who possess a more inquisitive mind, it's important to know that there is another, and that other is Linux. Linux provides you with the freedom of choice, something that Windows has progressively taken away with its forced advertisements on the start menu, locking your taskbar to the bottom of the screen. Why does Windows 11 do that? Linux frees you with those shackles. It allows you to make mistakes, but then to learn from those mistakes and become better overall at using a computer. And then, going back to my previous point, the fact of the matter is most people don't really care. It's the same deal with cars. A lot of people have to use them, not a lot of people care about them, and even fewer people actually know how it works. But all of that aside, more importantly, what do you think? Do you think it's all just a bunch of useless nonsense? Let me know in the comment section. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe in order to show your devotion to the FOSS gods. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.